in my clock, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols. Reaming my body, clothing no issue. Bitch, you look sick, you need a tissue. You drop a body, I just might bless you. I'm metrosexual.
Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's Wraith here, back with another video. Now in today's video, I'm going to basically be explaining why Fortnite is going in the wrong direction and why I personally think in the next year or two that Fortnite won't be the top 1 number game anymore, or even possibly in the top 3 depending if they stick with what they're doing right now. And basically I'm going to be giving you guys some reason and kind of explaining why I think that. Obviously I hope the game still goes on. I love this game. It's very enjoyable for me. I love hopping on every single day. Unfortunately though, it has gotten a little bit irritating, and not just really for me. But basically, yeah, if you guys are looking forward to this video, make sure you slap a like button, comment what you want to see for a future video, hit that subscribe button, and use creator code WraithFN. And by the way, this is by no means that I'm not going to play Fortnite, I'm not going to stream, not going to post YouTube videos. I still love the game. I'm just explaining why I think the next 2 years it won't be the biggest game anymore. Let's get right into today's video. So the first thing basically I'm going to talk about, and this is kind of basically killing the game, the #1 reason, and that is that pro players or even just big content creators are deciding not to play Fortnite as much, or even not at all, and move on to other games such as Apex, CSGOs, Minecraft, games like that. And there's a reason for that, and that's not very good, because for example, let's say Tfue. Obviously Tfue's going to be playing this game for a while just because he's made so much money, it has such a big fan base. But let's say Tfue, for example, decides to move over to Apex, like a lot of other big streamers are, or whatever the case is, right? Most of those 100,000 people who watch him consistently, obviously not at the exact same time, but 100,000 people who watch him consistently or whatever, probably about half of them or even a quarter of them are going to decide to follow him and start playing Apex instead of playing Fortnite, because they enjoy watching him. They're going to start to learn Apex. They're going to be like, oh, this game's fun, and plus all the pros are playing it, Tfue's playing it, I'm going to start playing this game. Which basically that means that less people are going to play Fortnite. So say for example 6 months down the road, 4 or 5 big streamers, like let's say Dakotas, Nick Mercs, or whoever, I'm not saying that, it doesn't have to be any specific people, basically switch over to Fortnite, or switch from Fortnite onto another game. Well, that's going to kill a lot of Fortnite's popularity. Now obviously they have views on Twitch that are going to be gone, so Fortnite won't be as high ranked on Twitch. Other streamers might feel neglected on Fortnite and might not feel like, okay, this is still not the game for me, I'm probably going to switch, etc, etc. So it's very important for Epic Games to keep their community alive, especially with the Twitch like viewers, because basically if every single pro player and every single big person on Twitch who streams Fortnite decide to leave to another game, I guarantee you 75% of people playing Fortnite would decide to switch to another game as well, just because they're so biased on how pro players play, what they're playing, and try and follow them basically. So now you may be wondering, you'll be like, well, why are some pro players switching? Why are people quitting? Why is that all going on? And it's the reason is that there's a consistent bad update trend from Fortnite for the past couple months now. It hasn't just been the past 2 months or since season 10 happened, or 2 weeks, but basically since season 10 happened, it really started to get bad. Obviously, I'm sure you guys know a lot about why it's not doing so well, but basically the main reason is the mech, or the brute, or whatever you want to call it. It's just so overpowered, and they refused to they neglected the community, and they basically refused to nerf it or take it out of arena or even the gameplay. And you can see a lot of pro players and streamers getting very irritated, and you even saw that hashtag, or you may not have saw that hashtag remove the mech was #2 trending on Twitter for a couple days, because every pro player, every single content creator, so many fans just posted hashtag remove the mech, and they still did nothing. Now they added a weapon, the Rift thing, where basically junk Rift, where you can throw it on top of a build and it can kill someone instantly no matter if you're boxed up. So basically what they're doing is they're going towards kind of the worst community of Fortnite. So they're trying to make it easier for little Timmies, which I'll talk about later, and they're trying to make it so that basically they can win more games, and then it's not really as competitive as a game, which is very unfortunate, because Fortnite, if they decide to just continue to making good updates, it could have been probably the #1 competitive game in the next 5-10 years and would have blown away records. It already has blown away records, but it would be absolutely incredible to see the Fortnite competitive scene grow and continue to grow over the next 5 years. But for some reason, they've decided to focus more on the lower end players and people who are just starting the game, which I'll talk about in a little bit and maybe a different point. So basically right now, Fortnite is still generally #1 on Twitch, and this is kind of goes back to my first point, but basically there's been times where, for example, when Apex releases solos, that Fortnite dropped to like 55,000 viewers or something, and Apex, Minecraft, etc., they all passed it, League of Legends, and then even the recent couple days, like I've seen Fortnite drop to 60-70,000 views total, and Minecraft be at like 90, or League of Legends be at 80-ish, sometimes surpassing Fortnite. Back 6 months ago, Fortnite had average 300 to 500k views. There was always people grinding on it, always people playing the game every single day, which kind of just has stopped, and people don't even want to watch the game anymore, which is why the Twitch viewership declined as well. And obviously it's still #1 as of right now, but I'm talking about the future. And obviously there's different apps like Mixer or whatever you want to talk about, Ninja, whatever. That's not the case. I'm just saying for an overall kind of standpoint. So basically, you guys may be wondering, like, well, you said that they're making the game easier and they're kind of ruining the competitive scene. Well, why would they do that? So basically, my kind of reasoning and what I've seen through Reddit and through multiple posts is when you first start a game and it decides to blow up, you have millions of people wanting to try that game, right? You have the age groups, normally I'd say around 10 to 20-ish, depending on what game it is, what maturity is, etc., etc. So basically, since Fortnite blew up the way it did, and parents were talking about it, became a family like event to talk about Fortnite and whatever, all the little kids were doing the dances, etc., etc. Basically, it blew up to the point where almost everyone probably tried Fortnite. Now, obviously, a lot of adults, etc., didn't, but for most people, the teenagers, etc., all tried Fortnite. Now, after a week or 2 weeks or even a couple months, they probably got bored of it, wanted to go back to Call of Duty, they wanted to go back to League of Legends, CSGO, whatever game they ended up playing, right? So basically what happened is there's so many people that's already tried the game that the only people left now are the people that still enjoy it, still want to make it competitively, or still just enjoy it, playing the game and having fun, basically. So it's very, very hard to find people nowadays and promote Fortnite to people who haven't already played it because it was such a big thing 6-7 months ago. So basically what demographic they're looking for is they're not looking for adults to start playing. They've already got most teens, so now what they're looking for is younger people for around 8, 9, 10 years old, or even a little bit younger, who's eventually in the next year or two going to start playing more video games, and they're going to want to see Fortnite, they're going to see more dances. And what Fortnite, or Epic Game, I guess I should say, basically thought process is, well, if we want to continue growing, getting more people, getting more money from them buying skins, etc., etc., they're not going to want to play if they can't get a winner. They're not going to want to play if they're dying to sweat, who can absolutely crank 90s or crank or do unbelievable edits or doesn't miss a shot, because they're going to be able to not even play or play very badly because they're such a young age, right? Like obviously 8, 7, 6, 9-year-olds aren't going to do good against an average 14-year-old player who's been playing for a year and a half, right? So what they've decided to do is add weapons such as the Brute, or well, vehicles, or the weapons such as the Junk Rift, or such weapons like the Drum Shotgun, and they made the loot pool as much as possible, so it allows them, a good player sometimes won't get a combat shotgun, where a bad player might get a combat shotgun, and they will kill the good player, which will allow them to feel more accomplished, feel like they want to play the game more, which could result in more sales for skins, more watch time, more viewage on Twitch, whatever the case is, right? So that's basically the reason that they start kind of focusing on the younger players, which a lot of people like to call Little Timmy, which is kind of unfortunate because basically, if you think about it, and obviously I don't know this for a fact, but I would assume that the diehard players are more likely to continue to basically buy the skins and buy the items every single day, especially streamers or people who watch streamers, especially with the creator code now. More people are buying skins, I feel like, who are diehard players, which again, I don't know for a fact, but basically if I was Epic Games, I'd probably more work about maintaining my player base instead of still trying to grow more, because Fortnite's never going to be what it was like a year ago. Unfortunately, that's just not how a game works. Once it kind of hits that hype, it starts to die down. Once it hits the peak of the mountain, it starts to die down. It starts to slowly go down. It's just where that kind of downwards trend stops and starts going on like a flat surface, or maybe a little bit bumps upwards or downwards, right? But basically what they're trying to do is make their game super, super popular again and make it where it was before. But unfortunately, that's never going to happen. So they need to realize that they basically need to stop trying to get new players and start trying to maintain the players that they already have. And basically a former example is the game Paragon, which a lot of you guys probably don't know, but or even what it is. But Epic basically ran this game, and it was a very, very big game. A lot of people enjoyed this game, and they've done the exact same thing on Paragon that they're doing with Fortnite right now. Basically, they decided that they wanted more young players. They wanted not really a skill matchmaking base. It was a very skilled game. If you put in the hours, you were going to be good, and you would be a very good player. But unfortunately, they wanted it so there wasn't really a competitive scene. They wanted it so everyone could win, blah, 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 blah. And unfortunately, Paragon actually closed its servers and ended up completely dying, even though a lot of people still enjoyed the game, which is a big trend that you see happening in Fortnite right now, how basically they're nerfing every good player and trying to make the skill gap smaller as possible, which you don't really want. So basically a couple things that Epic Games could do that I think would work is, number one, is they need to separate comp and they need to separate basic play. Basically what they could do is, if they made comp like arena, tournaments, all that, if they allowed a stretch res or FOV slider or whatever, they added health per kill, which they obviously already have, but if they keep it in the game, no more overpowered weapons, or even underpowered weapons that are just making the loot pool worse. For example, get rid of a couple snipers, get rid of the burst SMG, get rid of the drum shotgun, get rid of the mech, everything like that. If they just make small changes and made the competitive scene better and more enjoyable for people actually trying to do something with Fortnite, get better, and those people who have been playing for 2 years and want to play more competitive style, they're going to stick with that. Now obviously there's always going to be those people in normal game who are going to pub stomp. There's nothing you can do about that, and good players playing normal game, there's nothing you can do about that. So in normal game, I guess they could just keep the mech in, they could keep the loot pool, still allow little Timmy to win those games. If little Timmy tries to play an arena, he shouldn't win. There should be no reason as to why he can land in a map, land in a brute, or land in or find one of those rift things and kill a good player. That's not a game. That's not a good competitive scene. So what they need to do is separate it completely and allow it so that basically if you want to play competitively, then you're not allowed to play against little Timmys. And if little Timmy wants to play competitively, he's gonna have to put in the time, the effort, and work to get to where he wants to be. Also, a big thing Epic Games has stopped recently, and what they did really, really well in the first couple months or even year of having Fortnite big, was they used to listen to the community and engage with the community, telling them what to do, telling them the reasonings for updates, reasonings of why they added this, took out this, blah, blah, blah. And recently, they haven't done anything. They haven't said anything. They haven't listened to the community. Like I said, hashtag remove the mech. Number 2 trending on Twitter, and they did nothing. What did they do? They added a laser on it. Wow, that helped so much, right? So it's just unfortunate, and I really, really do hope that Fortnite doesn't die, because I really do enjoy the game. Obviously, I'm trying to make this my livelihood and trying to make as much money as possible. But again, that's just my personal opinion, so hopefully I am wrong. Hopefully it will flourish for the next 5-10 years. That would be unbelievable. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you slap a like button, comment what you want to see for a future video, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.